All right, you guys are going to think I'm a big fan of Ole Miss after doing all these videos. They just fit a lot of the needs that the Bears have. Jared Ivey is another defensive end that, man, very, very similar to DeMarcus Walker in size and role on the team. He could play out on the end. He could play up against the tackle. He could play 9. He could play 7. He can play over the A-gap, which is between the guard and the tackle. He has so many roles, and he did. Jared Ivey played probably about 25%, maybe 20% of his snaps in the A-gap. The rest of them over tackle or on the outside, a true edge. And he's very versatile, good sized. He was at the Senior Bowl. You see he measured in there 6'5", 283 pounds. Smaller hands, but decent arm length. Not huge arm length. Good wing size. So where he'll be used at the next level, man, I just like his style. But there are some weaknesses in him, which is why he's not a first-round prospect. You can see here, I've got him rated right around the 40-ish range to 55 range, which is higher than most. Most places have him in the 60s-ish to a late second-round or early third-round prospect. For those who don't remember, these are where the consensus is on these players. So ESPN has him, as a beginning of the second-round prospect. 33rd team has him mid-second round. PFF, end of the second round, the beginning of the third. And then most of these Draft Buzz, Mock Draft Database, all in the third round for Jared Ivey. I'd be very happy if we picked him up. He's top 15 in almost every statistical category. Started at Georgia Tech and then transferred to Ole Miss. Last 3 seasons at Ole Miss and really tons of pressure generated. Really good tackler as well. Doesn't sacrifice the pass rush for his tackling ability. Sometimes that's a little bit of his problem. At 6'6", he gets stood up a little bit when he's trying to diagnose a play, trying to diagnose if it's a pass or a run, and he gets stood up a little bit. So if he stays low, he's really formidable. He stood out in several areas for me, but what lacks, I think, was that he didn't have a lot of arsenal to be able to counter. You see him once he's made a decision on something. If he didn't make the right decision, it's hard for him to counter, hard for him to hand fight, hard for him to get a lot of those wins. Now he did have a huge pass rush win rate. It was really good. Over his 3 years at Ole Miss, he racked up 21 sacks. 95 pressures, and 28 tackles for loss. So he was often tackling guys behind the line of scrimmage, which is very good, obviously. We'll let the tape run on him a little bit. So one of the biggest strengths I saw in him was that he shines from play to play, that he's often getting those win rates like we talked about. 6'6", 285 pounds. Sometimes you won't see them being as athletic, and he's very athletic, but he doesn't have as much bend in the hips. So you hear about on those edges, you want to see the bend in the hips to be able to get around, do ghost moves, do a cross chop, or do different things to get past the defender. He just has to beat them with pure athleticism. So he doesn't have as many moves in his arsenal. He does get them set back, so he pushes the pocket back from the line of scrimmage. It's really good to see him doing that. His speed to power is very consistent. You can see he has a lot of combination. The combination of his speed to power sets people back, and he's able to get in on many plays. So that's why he has such a high pressure rate. You see 34 pressures on 311 opportunities. The year before, 26 pressures, 288 opportunities. So he's in constantly on plays. His run defense is really solid, consistently wins at the point of attack. So that's a huge plus and would be good for the Bears as well. Versatility is another plus that I have written down here. He's able to line up over the A-gap, over the tackle, over the edge, so he could play that DeMarcus Walker type of role, but be a little bit of an upgrade, I would assume, from DeMarcus Walker. Walker on the last year of his contract. Are we going to keep him? Who knows? Let me just show a little clip here of him and Walter Nolan at the Senior Bowl just getting interviewed. Here's the last little play from there.
It's surreal, it was surreal at the start, like knowing how many guys we had come, and then once we got out here, like just kind of felt like home, It felt like I looked to my right and my left, it's the same stuff I'm always seeing, I mean, that's always the goal for everybody on the team, is to get to the next level. So we were very intentional about that and having that pro mindset the entire time. So, yeah, it definitely influenced us this year.
Really, just taking in all the energy, just asking questions whenever I needed to. Really just that guidance. I feel like there was a lot of guidance shoulder and just really just trying to teach me how to be a pro before I go to the pro level.
So, obviously with his size, he would be more of a Fit for a 4-3 scheme, which is perfect for Dennis Allen's defense, and his size would fit perfectly with it. To start his career, I don't see him being an everyday defender. I can see him being a rotational early down defender, so it would be interesting to see what they end up deciding to do if they do draft him. But if he fell to the Bears, say we trade down from 10 and we pick up an extra second rounder, or he falls to 72, I would scoop him up in a heartbeat. I think he's got so much untapped potential. He showed a lot of that at the Senior Bowl, so really, really good prospect for me. Is he someone that I want to take with our second round picks? Just depends on who's on the board. I would be okay with us taking him if we haven't taken an edge and we have the opportunity to take someone in that spot like him. I wouldn't be upset with this pick whatsoever. Just a lot of untapped potential with his size-speed combination. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bears do there. But solid prospect, one that I think is being overlooked a little bit. You see here on his NFL Draft Buzz grades, they've got him 89% tackling, 91 pass rush, and 83 run defense. So a very solid, well-rounded edge defender. One that's not going to be your consistent, 10-sack-a-year guy, but I think he could get 5-6 sacks rotationally and be able to rotate in, take some of those snaps inside on certain schemes and sets, and be able to, help with the run defense, which is one of the biggest issues the Bears had last year. So if, you took Walter Nolan at 18 and traded back and got him, you got these two guys together that could help solidify our defense, I would be really happy with that. I'm high on him as a prospect, so I like him. I'm not pounding the table to draft him early, but if we take him in the second round, third round, I'm actually really excited about the prospect he could become for the Bears. I think he's got a lot of potential and a lot of athleticism that could translate into being a important part of the defense. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are, though. If you've even looked into Jared Ivey, what your thoughts are on him as a prospect. I like these bigger guys in Dennis Allen's defense. So with that, the Bears, bear down.